What does it really take to change the world? I mean, is it just about courage, or is there something uh, deeper going on, like a real understanding of people, a vision that helps one person's commitment echo through time?
That's a huge question, and it's exactly what we're diving into today with John Lewis's memoir, Walking with the Wind.
Right.
And, this book, it isn't just history. It's persuasion. It's powerful.
Right, and that's why it's such a great focus for us. Our goal here is to really unpack the rhetorical power in this book. How did Lewis actually do it? How did he get his message across so effectively?
And just so you know, you are experiencing a unique two-host AI conversation powered by Google's NotebookLM,
Yeah.
which lets us get into, well, a deeper, more dynamic kind of analysis.
Exactly. So to really get the book's impact, we first need to understand the ground it stands on, the context Lewis was speaking from.
Yeah, absolutely. And a good way to frame that is using something called the SOAP Stone method. It helps break down the basics: speaker, occasion, audience, purpose, subject, and tone.
Okay, SOP Stone. Let's start with S for speaker. John Lewis himself. What gave his voice such weight?
Well, his credibility, his ethos, it wasn't from degrees or anything like that. It was forged in the struggle. He was a founder of SNCC, right?
What?
Freedom rider who faced just unbelievable violence. Key organizer for the March on Washington.
So his life was the qualification.
Precisely. His life was the argument. That kind of moral authority earned through sacrifice, it's just undeniable. It can persuade people in a way nothing else can.
That's incredibly clear. Okay, so the Ocean. The book came out in 1998. That's decades after the main events. How did that time gap shape the book?
That distance is really key. It meant he wasn't just reporting, in the heat of the moment. He could reflect. He could be a philosopher about what it all meant, the lasting lessons.
So it wasn't just about what happened, but what it means.
Exactly. It was about preserving history, sure, but also passing on the legacy, making sure the sacrifices of the foot soldiers, as he called them, weren't forgotten, making sure they were understood.
And the A audience. Who is he writing this for? Just people who remembered the 60s.
Oh, much wider than that. Definitely for them, yes, but also very much for younger generations, people learning about it fresh, and for future activists, really.
So not just the usual suspects.
Right. He wanted to connect beyond just, social justice circles. He aimed for anyone looking for inspiration, for human courage. Didn't matter their background.
Okay, so with that broad audience in mind, what was his P, his purpose? What did he want the book to do?
It was layered, definitely. Part of it was informing people, showing the nuts and bolts, the daily grind, the reality of the movement, bearing witness, too, to the courage and the immense suffering.
But more than just documenting.
Oh, absolutely. The core purpose was persuasive. He wanted to convince readers that nonviolence, love, the whole idea of the beloved community this Vision King talked about, a society built on justice and reconciliation, wasn't just a nice dream.
He saw it as practical.
Yes, as a practical blueprint for a better world. Timeless principles.
That's a huge ambition. Which brings us to S, subject. The civil rights movement is vast. How did he frame it?
He frames this massive historical event through a very intimate lens, his own life. You start with him as a kid in rural Alabama, segregated Alabama, preaching to chickens on the farm.
Preaching to chickens, really?
Yeah, it's a famous story.
Yeah.
And you follow him all the way to the March on Washington, to Congress. Yeah. That personal journey makes the huge historical narrative feel, personal.
Yeah.
Accessible.
It connects you directly. Okay, last one. Tone for tone. Given all the violence and injustice he describes, how does the book feel?
The tone is honestly one of his most striking features. It's humble, it's warm, surprisingly warm sometimes. It's honest, deeply honest, and just filled with conviction.
Not bitter.
Remarkably little bitterness, no self-pity, no grandstanding. He presents himself as like a servant to the cause, something bigger than him. And that restraint actually makes the message hit harder,
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the context. Now let's dig into how he persuades. The classic appeals. Ethos, pathos, logos. We touched on ethos. His credibility. What's the deeper insight there?
Well, like we said, it's not just what he did, but who he was. He wasn't an observer. He was a platoon leader and foot soldier, taking the hits, breathing the tear gas.
That commitment to nonviolence, even when things got incredibly dangerous.
Exactly. Even facing death, that builds this incredible moral authority. It's rooted in his faith, his belief in that beloved community idea. It creates this ethical framework that just makes everything he says feel true, authentic.
Yes. You can't argue with that kind of lived experience.
Okay, pathos, the emotional side. How does he connect with the reader emotionally?
Yeah.
Are there specific moments or techniques?
Oh, the book is full of pathos. It comes from the stories, the personal accounts, the freedom rides. For instance, he describes being beaten nearly to death, the bus burning. It's harrowing detail.
I feel it.
You feel it. He talks about the rhythm of a mob, how the tension rises. It puts you right there in the fear, in the intensity. And isn't there a central metaphor that really carries a lot of that emotional weight? Something introduced right at the start.
Yes. That's maybe the most powerful piece of pathos. In the prologue, he tells this story from his childhood. His aunt's house, flimsy thing, during a huge storm, wind just howling, threatening to rip it apart.
And what did they do?
His aunt got all 15 kids, and they held hands, and they walked back and forth across the floorboards. Their combined weight, their movement, helped hold the house down against the wind.
Wow.
Yeah. And that image, children holding hands, walking with the wind, becomes this symbol for the whole movement. It's about ordinary people together facing these huge storms of hate, using their collective strength, their resilience.
Yeah, that's incredibly resonant. Vulnerability and strength, all tied together.
Exactly. It hits you on a really deep level. Community, perseverance, fragility. It's all in there.
Okay, so powerful pathos. What about logos, the logic? How does he argue for nonviolence as more than just a moral choice, but as a strategy?
He's very clear on this. Nonviolence wasn't passive acceptance, not at all. He talks about the workshops in Nashville, the intense training they did for sit-ins, how to take abuse without fighting back, specific tactics.
So there was a clear plan.
A very clear logic. The idea was, you peacefully challenge segregation, you know you'll likely face a violent response, you endure it. And by enduring it publicly, you capture the imagination of the country, people who were indifferent before. You force them to see the injustice.
And force the government to step in.
Precisely. So the insight is that nonviolence, Lewis style, isn't just moral high ground. It's smart. It's a calculated, brilliant tactic to expose injustice and compel change.
As we're digging into all this, you might be thinking about your own views on history, on courage. If you want more analysis like this, insights that really make you think, check out Mindful Moments. That's our YouTube channel, offering AI book analysis designed to enrich your perspective.
So beyond those core appeals, Lewis uses other key strategies too. The power of the personal narrative itself is huge, telling this epic historical story through one person's eyes.
Yeah, following him from the farm with the chickens all the way to the March on Washington. It creates this connection. You're not just learning about history, you're kind of living it with them. A regular history book can't quite do that.
It's definitely not. And that central metaphor we talked about, walking with the wind, it's not just in the prologue. It's the title. It echoes throughout. It perfectly captures that mix of collective action, resilience, courage against, these massive forces. It's probably the single most powerful rhetorical device in the whole book.
He also uses quite a bit of figurative language, spiritual language even. He mentions feeling the spirit of history guiding things.
Yes. That and the whole concept of the beloved community, it elevates the struggle, doesn't it? It's not just political maneuvering. It's framed as a moral quest, almost a spiritual one.
Gives it a sense of higher purpose.
Exactly. Lewis was trained as a preacher, remember? That language infuses the story with this sense of, divine purpose, historical inevitability. It helps you understand the deep conviction driving them. It felt like they were on the right side of history, maybe even of God.
So pulling it all together, how effective is this book, really? Does it achieve what Lewis set out to do? And why does it still matter so much to us, to you listening today?
Judged by pretty much any standard, it's incredibly effective. It absolutely succeeds in preserving that history of the ordinary people in the movement, and it definitely inspires. It's become a foundational text for understanding that whole era.
What makes it so foundational, do you think?
I think it's the authenticity, the honesty, and the way that tone, that humble, compelling voice makes a really difficult, often brutal history accessible without watering it down. The lessons in it about courage, sacrifice, strategy, they're just timeless. Still incredibly relevant.
And there's an ethical dimension too, right? The way he tells the story. It's a model of ethical persuasion.
Totally. He's so honest, so courageous, but there's that striking lack of bitterness. He's proudly black, obviously, but there's no sense of anti-white hatred. He always grounds the fight in universal principles: dignity, brotherhood, love.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How can we talk about difficult histories, difficult issues now with that kind of grace, that kind of moral clarity? It's powerful.
So, to sum up, Walking with the Wind is way more than just a history book. It's a masterclass in persuasion, a testament to the power of lived experience, moral conviction, and just disciplined action. against incredible odds.
And understanding how stories like Lewis's work, how they shape our view of the world and maybe push us towards action that's valuable for everyone. If you want more AI book analysis like this, more deep explorations to get you thinking, remember to check out Mindful Moments and our other podcasts.
And as we wrap up, maybe something to think about. In a world that still has plenty of its own storms, what does walking with the wind mean for you? What collective weight can we bring to bear today?
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Click the link on screen for the in-depth book summary. Please subscribe, share this with others. You can purchase the book through the link as well. And most importantly, always think critically.